Some people think wellness is all fitness, and obviously from the survey that you created, that's just not the case. Throughout evolution, we have craved fat, sugar, and salt, and that doesn't change now that we're in the year 2024. But if you add in a salad, that's going to fill you up, it's going to add fiber, and the idea of adding things versus taking away just works better for people, because as soon as you start moving your body more, you're going to be more hungry. And if what you're already putting in your body isn't fueling it properly, then you're going to continue those habits and kind of work against yourself.
Welcome to another episode of the Pulse Podcast. My name is Marlon, and today my guest is Nicole, founder of Citra Fitness and Movement in St. Louis, Missouri. Nicole works as a yoga instructor, personal trainer, and she also works with the School of the Blind. Some of you might recognize Nicole from Sunrise Yoga, which takes place every Tuesday at 7 in the morning at Kiener Plaza, right in front of the Arch. On this episode, Nicole shares with us the importance of having a healthy diet, in particular, as you start and continue your own fitness journey. I'd love for you to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It motivates me to continue having these conversations and grows the channel further. That said, let me present to you, Nicole.
Well, owning my own business, I feel like I think about work a lot more than most people do. And then my body is a lot of my own feedback when it comes to my work as well. So even I consider my workouts to be part of my work. Sometimes even just getting ready, shopping. I'm usually shopping for something for work. So it's kind of the two of us are one entity, my work and I.
And so then you're saying you feel that in your body.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I learned so much just from my own workouts, of how to help people, how to access different muscles, muscle groups, sequencing of muscle movement as well. So some of the people who I work with, they may not be able to see, or they may not be able to hear, or be able to do either of those things. Some people that I work with have also been in pretty traumatic accidents as well that have changed the relationship that they have with their body. So through my own workouts and what I do physically, I try to learn what I can so I can communicate that the best way that I can to someone else.
Obviously, there's the as we age, like our relationship to our body changes, but I never considered about like an accident as, oh, now I need to rebuild the relationship with my body. Could you tell me a little bit more just about Sunrise Yoga? Because that is how I originally met you.
I can't say that I started Sunrise Yoga. It was already a program that was in place. I wanted to actually teach underneath the arch, which is a little different area in St. Louis. And I reached out to Gateway Arch Park Foundation, and they were like, well, we have this class. It's called Sunrise Yoga. Would you like to teach that? And I said, sure. And so I started doing that. And it was not what you saw when you started coming when we were first out there. It was maybe 30 or 40 people. And now the last class was 117. So it's grown significantly. Yeah, the biggest class we had last year was 220.
Yeah, that's large growth. Let's jump gears into sleep. Like, how much sleep do you get?
I love sleep. My parents instilled in me from when I was a little kid that you go to bed at a certain time and you wake up at a certain time. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm very fortunate that, for the most part, I think everybody sleeps a little bit differently. If you sleep in a hotel or someplace that's not your bed, or if I'm doing work in bed before I fall asleep, that might change the way that I sleep a little bit. But for the most part, in the summer, I get 6 to 8 hours. In the winter, I get 8 to 9 hours. If I'm struggling, I will definitely take an edible to make sure that I go to sleep. So I'm a huge fan of sleeping. I think I do a very good job of sleeping.
What is your bedtime?
It depends. Honestly, in the summer, it's early. I go to bed anywhere from, I'd say, like last night I went to bed at 9 p.m., but that was very early for me. Most of the time, anywhere from 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. I get up though around 5 a.m.
So I'm curious about your health. And then I'm also curious about just, I guess, any like tips for people trying to like improve, particularly their relationship with their physical bodies.
I mean, I like to think of myself as relatively healthy. It's been a long journey of figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. And that's usually what I tell people as well when they start a fitness journey. I usually tell them to get their relationship with food in a good place first, because as soon as you start moving your body more, you're going to be more hungry. And if what you're already putting in your body isn't fueling it properly, or you're overfeeding yourself, then you're going to continue those habits and kind of work against yourself. So even with new clients that I take on, I usually give them about 2 weeks and I say, figure out your diet first. And when I use the word diet, that doesn't mean restriction of anything. It's figuring out what works for you, whether that's intermittent fasting, picking a particular way of eating a balanced meal or a balanced diet. It's what works for the person. And I let them have that time to figure it out before we start working together.
Fitness journey. That's actually a really great way of describing it. I also appreciate that so 2 weeks of trial and error, at least to start, is what you're saying.
It could be trial and error for people. I feel like a lot of people, especially women, have already been told what they should and shouldn't be eating, and those rules change all the time. We used to be told that fat was terrible for us, that eggs were terrible for us. And now the science is showing that those things aren't true. So it's more figuring out what works for the person. And I usually tell people, I'm not a dietitian and I'm not a nutritionist, so I can't speak as to what somebody should be eating. But what I usually tell them is start adding in things that are quote unquote good for you or healthy foods. And I'll tell somebody that's usually whole foods, non-processed foods. Start adding those in. And then naturally the stuff that's not so great for you will fall off.
As you change your diet and you're changing your habits, you on your journey, like you're starting to see improvements, I guess is what you're getting at.
Yeah, and mentally, I think the idea of taking things away, of being restrictive, like throughout evolution, we have craved fat, sugar, and salt. And that doesn't change now that we're in the year 2024. We still crave those things. Now we have access to it and it's everywhere. It's not just like we have to hunt for, or search, I should say, for those things. Now we can just go to the refrigerator and it's right there. But if you add in a salad for every meal, or at least lunch and dinner, that's going to fill you up. It's going to add fiber. And the idea of adding things versus taking away, I think really it is a mental game, but it just works better for people.
I see what you're saying. That instead of thinking of a diet as restrictive, think of it as, oh no, you get to add nutritious
Yes.
to your. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. It also gives
I
the.
also, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it gives the not illusion of choice, but it does feel empowering to say, no, you get to do this.
Yeah. You get to add this to your diet. And usually people start to feel better too. At least for me, it also changed my palate as well. So I stopped craving as much sugar. I stopped craving as much salt. And I started to crave more healthy foods. Same thing with adding water. Just even if you're drinking your coffee, but you also have a cup of water there, that's going to make you feel better.
Mhm.
So,
I guess this is perfect transition. Let me ask you about food because we're there.
yeah.
Yeah, what is your diet and what's good for your body?
I like that you phrased it like that. So I used to do intermittent fasting in the morning, and I liked that. For the most part, I feel pretty good. But now I guess I still do that in a way because I don't eat immediately when I wake up. Like I feel like some people eat breakfast right away. And if that works for them, cool. But now I add MCT oil and whole milk to my coffee, and that actually fills me up. So instead of eating food with like fiber with it, I am consuming calories, but it's all pretty much fat, protein. Obviously, there's some sugar in milk as well, but it's mostly liquid. And that actually helps me with my day as well because I don't want to eat a full meal before I'm going to go teach someone. I've got to use my body to demo. I'm up and off the ground. I'm really in people's personal space as well. So I just feel better if I don't actually eat breakfast, but instead drink my breakfast. So that's that. And then usually for lunch, I have either eggs or tuna with vegetables as well. That's when I'm feeling my best. And there's some days like today that I went to Medina Bowl. Like, meh.
I appreciate the facial expression because yeah, we should be allowed to enjoy our cheap meals from time to time. I actually don't
For
even like
sure.
calling them cheat meals because sometimes I just want this food.
Yeah. And to me, that's a better decision than going to get McDonald's. So I also try to look at it like that. Like, what's the lesser of the two evils right now? And I'm just trying to get through my day, feed my body. For the most part, I take care of myself and try to congratulate those small wins versus tearing myself apart for one decision that wasn't the best.
Just because you're not at optimal doesn't mean you're not doing well overall. That
Right. And it is all a journey. And if everything was perfect the whole time, I think most of us would get pretty bored. We do our best with the conditions that we're under.
I agree 100%. Okay, let me ask you about home. Are there any like chores or just like upkeep things that you do or don't like doing?
I don't like most of it, to be honest. Well, I guess I don't like, I don't crave cleaning. I'm not, my mother does. My mother and my best friend are like obsessed with cleaning. It's not my favorite thing to do, but my home is my studio as well. So it's also my business. So every morning, like I said, I usually get up around 5. And I do dedicate at least 30 to 45 minutes in the morning to picking everything up, organizing. I also live in a space that's about 700 square feet. And that, like I said, includes my studio as well in that space. So it is very important that I pick up everything. I usually vacuum, clean the floors, make sure that they're clean, and then make sure that everything is put away as well.
So that responsibility ties in with business, which as an entrepreneur, business owner, like that's just a constant.
It's all one, yes.
We were talking about friends and family. We can combine both. How did
Yeah.
you create family time and friend time? And how often do you get to see those people that you care about?
So family, I live in St. Louis. My family lives all over the country. I'm originally from Chicago, so most of them are up there. I do get up and see them probably 4 or 5 times a year, holidays, and then just random things. We have a family vacation this July up in Michigan as well. But I'm not particularly close to any of my family members, so I rated that about a 3. But most of my friends are my family as well. So I spend a lot of time with my friends. A lot of them come to the studio to work out with me as well, which is great.
One of the things I love about my friends and friends in general is that we keep each other accountable. So, as
Mhm.
an example, yesterday I went for my first run in a week, and I called my buddy Andy, I volunteered him to be my accountability buddy. I go run, and so he was excited to get that call. So I'm curious if your friends appreciate
So
that you
sweet.
keep them accountable, like with their exercise.
Yeah, so actually my best friend, the one who loves cleaning, she is a massage therapist. So we do trade. She comes here twice a week to work out, and then twice a month I get a 90-minute massage. So we're keeping each other not only accountable, but also healthy because her job is very physical. Massaging people 5 days a week, it takes a toll on your body. And so I kind of create a class for her that works the opposite muscle groups, or she's pushing a lot. So we do a lot of pulling exercises to balance her body. And of course, she's balancing my body through my massage. And then my bookkeeper is the same way. We also trade. So there's accountability, but also support there as well, for sure.
That's phenomenal. That's how friendship should work, and it seems like it's very, what's the word? Symbiotic.
Yeah, symbiotic for sure.
Perfect. Well, let's close this out with fun. How much fun do you have, and how often do you have fun?
Depends on your definition of fun, Marlon. I really do think my business is fun. I think my work is very fun. So I do have a good time with that. And like I said, my friends also come here. I meet a lot of people through work as well. It's very social. I love traveling. So I get to travel being, a business owner. I think you're beholden to your work in a lot of ways, but this is year 4 for me with Citra. It'll be 4 years in August, I should say. And I've gotten to a place where I can kind of carve out time for myself, which is really nice. So travel definitely is fun for me. And then I think I talked about this on the Pulse survey. like my sleep. There are some nights that I don't get a lot of sleep because I do want to go have fun and go out to dinner with my friends and have a few drinks, which that's few and far between now, at least the drinking part. But yeah, I try to carve out some time for fun always.
The first full pulse interview that I did was with a time management researcher, and he
Hmm.
said 8 hours for fun, essentially saying that what he does for work is fun. And
Yeah.
in the process of becoming a successful entrepreneur, you do realize that this is fun, that the work you do is fun, because I'm having a blast. This is my job right now.
See?
Yeah, so it's great to hear that you incorporate fun into your life. It sounds like, yeah, it sounds like it's very much like a part of who you are.
Yeah. I like to have a good time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this conversation. I wanted to ask if there's any like parting thoughts that you have, particularly for people that are trying to reflect on their wellness.
Yeah, I think the tool, the survey that you have set up is it's a great tool for people like me who have been in the wellness industry, have thought about sleep and fun and their health, the way that they eat. That's something that I think about a lot because it's the world that I'm in. But I thought that the survey was also simple enough for people who don't think about it all the time. And it's a great way to sort of instigate those thoughts and let them move into different parts of our life, and think about different avenues that you can take to improve your overall wellness. Some people think wellness is all fitness, and obviously from the survey that you created, that's just not the case. Like it's just a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's very much a holistic endeavor. And personally, one of the realizations that I made not too long ago was that all of your time impacts your wellness. So if you think about it from that perspective, every conversation you have with a friend impacts your wellness. Every time you have a meal impacts your wellness. Whether or not you
Yeah,
do wake up to go to sunrise yoga impacts your wellness.
for sure, for sure. There's benefits and consequences to every decision we make.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing your pulse. I hope that this conversation really helps other people take pulse and reflect on their journeys. Oh, where could people find you?
Citrafitness.com is my website, and then I'm also active on Instagram as well.
We'll add them to the bio. I appreciate you so much for making the time. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you.
From all of us at DemiTool, thank you so much for watching. If this Pulse podcast inspired you to reflect on your life, feel free to try Pulse at the link down below. Also, if you'd like some more Pulse content, here's a couple previous episodes for you to check out. And then lastly, if you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe. We'd love to see you again.